Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we carry on with the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. So let's see what happens next. So now the brothers, they are all at home. They've gone back home, and Yusuf alayhi salam has told them that you'll only get more food if you bring Binyamin. So if you bring your brother Binyamin, only then will you get more food. So now the brothers, they pleaded with their father and they asked him and they said, "Oh father, if you don't take Binyamin, then we won't get more food." And it was a drought, so people needed food. So they asked their father and they pleaded with him to let them take Binyamin. Now Yaqub alayhi salam, he knew that if Binyamin went, they wouldn't get more food. So he eventually agreed. But this time he only let them take Binyamin after they made a promise. And they promised on Allah's name that they'll bring him back safely. Because they did this before as well. If you remember, they took Yusuf alayhi salam too, but they did something bad to him. Yeah, so this time around, Yaqub alayhi salam told them, if you take a promise of Allah, then I'll let Yusuf Binyamin go with you. Now, Yaqub alayhi salam, he loved his sons very much. He loved all of them. So he advised them and he told them that when you go to the palace, what you do, don't all enter from one door and one gate. All of you enter from different doors, because the sons of Yaqub alayhi salam were very, very handsome, and because of this, he wanted to protect them from anyone saying anything bad about them. So how do you think Yaqub alayhi salam felt? Right now, he's lost Yusuf alayhi salam, so he's really sad about Yusuf alayhi salam, and now he has to let his other son Binyamin go. Imagine how he felt. He must have felt very sad and worried. So let's see what happens next. So Yusuf alayhi salam, now Binyamin, he went to Egypt with the brothers, and now Yusuf alayhi salam saw him. So once Yusuf alayhi salam saw Binyamin, he told him who he was. He took him to the side, and when they were alone, he told him who he was, and he told him that I am your brother, Yusuf alayhi salam, from many, many years ago. They were both really happy to see each other, because it was a very long time, and the brothers thought that Yusuf alayhi salam had passed away, but now Binyamin found out that his brother's alive, so he was really, really happy. Now Yusuf alayhi salam, he wanted to keep Binyamin with him. He was his brother. He'd seen him after such a long time. He was so happy to see him, but he wanted to keep Binyamin with him. So how could Yusuf alayhi salam keep his brother with him? He couldn't just keep him for no reason. So let's see what plan Yusuf alayhi salam used. So just before the brothers left, a person announced, and the person said that you are thieves. So all the people that were there coming to get food, this person said that you are all thieves. Now let's see, why did he say this? So do you think Yusuf alayhi salam will be able to keep Binyamin? Do you think he'll be able to make a plan and he'll be able to keep Binyamin? So let's see what happens. Keeping Binyamin. The brothers were really confused that we're about to go and we're about to go home with all this food, and now someone's just said that we are all thieves. So what's happened? So they were told that the king's cup had been stolen. So the king's cup had been stolen. So let's see what happened. The brothers said, no, that we are not thieves. We would never do such a bad thing. And they also said that whoever has the cup and the king's cup and has stolen it, they'll be handed over to the minister and the leader. Now the servants, they were all searching everyone's bag to find that cup until they found it. And whose bag do you think they found it in? They found it in Binyamin's bag. Because what Yusuf alayhi salam had done, he put the cup in Binyamin's bag. He told his servant to put in Binyamin's bag so that he could keep Binyamin with him. Now Binyamin had to be handed over, and the brothers couldn't say no. So imagine how embarrassed the brothers felt. They said that it wasn't them, and now it was one of them, and they had to hand Binyamin over. So even though they promised their father, they couldn't keep that promise. And what would they tell their father? How would they go in front of their father? So now returning home. So now the brothers, they return home. Now the eldest brother, he was very ashamed that first time around, we lost Yusuf alayhi salam, and we did such a bad thing to him. And our father was really, really upset. For many, many years, he was really upset. Now, how can we go back and tell our father and our dad that lost another brother as well, that we've lost another son of his. How could we go home? So he did not have the courage to stand in front of his father and go back home. So he stayed behind. Now, Yusuf alayhi salam was lost. First, they lost Yusuf alayhi salam. Now, Binyamin was taken as well. The king, the leader of Egypt, had also taken Binyamin. And now the eldest brother stayed behind as well. So now 3 sons of Yaqub alayhi salam were behind. Imagine what he would feel. So when the brothers went home, they told their father what had happened. And now Yaqub alayhi salam was really, really sad. First, he had lost Yusuf alayhi salam. Now he had lost Binyamin as well. And his 3rd son had stayed behind as well. But even though all this happened, Yaqub alayhi salam was very strong and he trusted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much. And this is what he said. So even though Yaqub alayhi salam, he went through all these hardships and all these troubles, still he was very, very patient and he trusted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a plan and I'll trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a lesson for all of us, that whenever we're going through something hard, we always trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we never complain and we always be patient. So do you think Yaqub alayhi salam lost even a little bit of hope? No, he never. He trusted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fully and he was very, very patient. Okay, let's see what happens next. Now, when Yaqub alayhi salam heard the news, like we said, he was very, very upset. But still, he never lost hope. He never lost hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he never lost hope that he'll find his sons. So he told the brothers that all of you all go back to Egypt and you bring back all the brothers. So all the brothers, they went straight to Egypt and they went straight to Yusuf alayhi salam. Now remember, they still don't know that it's Yusuf alayhi salam. Now, once they told Yusuf alayhi salam what happened and how sad their father is and how worried and sad they all were, Yusuf alayhi salam, he felt very sorry for them. He couldn't bear to see his brothers. Even though they did bad to him, he still couldn't bear to see his brothers feeling this sad and his father this sad. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now told Yusuf alayhi salam that you tell them who you are. So now the brothers, they were pleading and they were begging, and now Yusuf alayhi salam, he told them and he said, do you know what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant? Do you know what you did to Yusuf and his brother Binyamin when you were ignorant? Now imagine what the brothers were thinking, that how does this person, this leader, know about Yusuf alayhi salam? When we did the bad thing that we did to Yusuf alayhi salam, it was only us, no one else knew about this. So how could this person know? So imagine how shocked they were. And out of 10, how shocked do you think the brothers were? Yeah, they were really, really shocked. No one knew about Yusuf but them. Now let's see what happens next. So the brothers, they were really, really shocked and they asked that, are you indeed Yusuf? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us this in the Quran, that the brothers, they asked Yusuf alayhi salam that, are you indeed Yusuf? And Yusuf alayhi salam said that, I am Yusuf and this is my brother Binyamin. And he said that whoever fears Allah and is patient is always successful. Now Yusuf alayhi salam, he was very, very patient, and because of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him success. He did not blame them for anything. Even though the brothers did a very, very bad thing to him, he did not blame them. Rather, he forgave them all. And he forgave them and they were all very, very happy. So this is what we also need to do. If someone does anything bad to us, we don't do something bad to them. We forgive them. Now imagine if someone did something to you and now you are meeting them, would you now forgive them? And we should all, as Muslims, we should always be forgiving. Now, the brothers, they explained to Yusuf alayhi salam that our father, he'd lost his eyesight. He couldn't see anymore. He'd become blind. So this was because when he lost Yusuf alayhi salam, because he loved him so much, he'd lost his eyesight. Yusuf alayhi salam, he told them that what you do, you take my shirt and you put it on the eyes of their father. So once you put it on his eyes, his eyesight will return, inshallah. So this is what they did. And Yaqub alayhi salam, he got his eyesight back and he could see now. Now they were all really happy. They found out that Yusuf alayhi salam was alive and he was such a respected leader. So they all went to Egypt. Now, even if the entire world got together, can they change the plan of Allah? So even though the brothers, they wanted to get rid of Yusuf alayhi salam, they still couldn't. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Yusuf alayhi salam respect and he gave him leadership. Now let's see what happens next. So now when they all went to Egypt, Yusuf alayhi salam, he placed his parents on the throne. So the throne he had, put his parents on the throne out of respect. So he showed them great respect. Now both his parents and the 11 brothers bowed down to him, which was allowed at that time. So at that time it was allowed. So both his parents and the 11 brothers, they all bowed down to him. The parents were the sun and the moon, and the 11 stars were the 11 brothers. So now, like we talked about in the beginning, Yusuf alayhi salam had a dream about 11 stars and the sun and moon bowing down to him. So Yusuf alayhi salam's story, it began with a dream and ended with this interpretation. How amazing. Now, after a few years and after a long time, Yaqub alayhi salam, he stayed in Egypt, but now his time had come to pass away. And so let's see what happened. Before he passed away, Yaqub alayhi salam, he advised his children. And what did he advise them? He told them that worship no one other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and submit to him. So don't worship anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and always worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yusuf alayhi salam, he also remained a humble and fair leader. So even though he had respect and he was given leadership, he still remained humble and fair. He never did bad things to anyone. And his dua was to die as a Muslim. How should we act if we become leaders? So just like Yusuf alayhi salam, he never became arrogant and he never did evil things. He stayed humble and he worshipped Allah. So we should do the same thing. If we are given leadership, or if we get power, we do the same thing, inshallah. So what lessons do we learn? So this amazing story of Yusuf alayhi salam, what do we learn? So number one, patience is a virtue. So patience is a very, very good quality. So Yusuf alayhi salam and Yaqub alayhi salam, both of them had great patience. Even though they went through many troubles, they still stayed patient. Allah Ta'ala can do anything. So even though the brothers, they put Yusuf alayhi salam in the well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took him out and gave him respect. Never lose hope in Allah. So like Yaqub alayhi salam, never lose hope in Allah. Learn to forgive and forget. So just like Yusuf alayhi salam did. Stay away from jealousy. Like we see what jealousy did with the brothers and Yusuf alayhi salam. This is why we should stay away from jealousy. And never complain. Never complain. Yaqub alayhi salam, even though he went through many troubles, he never complained to anyone. He stayed patient and he trusted Allah. And stay humble. So just like Yusuf alayhi salam did. Even though you get power or even though you become a leader, always stay humble. So which one moral have you learned from the story of Yusuf alayhi salam? And I want all of you to choose one and act upon it. Yeah, and this is why we learn these stories, so we can bring these good qualities in our life. Okay, that's the end of this session. Jazakallah. And towards the end, we'll be posting the quiz and the worksheet. So if all of you can download it, Jazakallah, and now I'll hand it to Maulana Zaid.